Okay, welcome to the Lobo Den Podcast. Today we have Brooke Sullivan. We talk about the many times I tore my penis. We talk about horrible comedy shows. We both have kids. And then, was there something else that I'm missing?
Drugs.
We talked about drugs.
Drugs.
Yeah, drugs. Drugs, lives matter. Okay, Lobo Den. Okay, welcome to the Lobo Den Podcast. I'm your host, Giovanni Diaz. To the left is Chrissy Ferrera. We are at the Lincoln Lodge, and across from me is Brooke Sullivan. What's up, Brooks?
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on, Brooks? So today, before we start, right, we do have a sponsor today, right? We do have a sponsor. It's the Fleshlight, right? The Fleshlight is a sponsor, the original Fleshlight, because when you go to one of the stores, and when I was younger, one time I was sitting in my room, and I was like, I really want one, so I drove to this in Kenosha, or between the border of Illinois, whatever, to buy this fake vagina. I didn't get it, but I did get one for Christmas, right?
For Christmas.
With a heater, and then allegedly I might have snuck it into a bathroom at work. But because my girlfriend, I don't think she's pregnant, but we had a pregnancy scare, and she's kind of nauseous. So I was like, I want to feel something warm. So I was like, let's bring out the Fleshlight. So it is in my book bag in my car. I do need to clean it because it's going to reek up smell. So if your girlfriend is nauseous and possibly pregnant, even though the pregnancy thing said not pregnant, use a Fleshlight. Get a hoodie, put it between your pants so the camera at work doesn't see you. Sneak it into the bathroom. What's up, Brooks? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Good. How have you been? I haven't seen you. Okay, I'm gonna say this. You've been getting a lot of work, right? You're very successful right now as a comedian. Were you successful before you cut your hair? Because now you're a silver fox. You have. You think the hair? You had longer hair.
I did.
Did you wear jerseys or hockey jerseys in my head? Or
I didn't wear jerseys. I used to have a hat on a lot, though.
Oh, you did have a hat on. Did you feel a big difference? Well, I mean, I'm sure the comedy and the writing, whatever.
Right.
But I'm crediting everything to the long hair because I'm being an asshole about it. But how do you feel about this hair? When did you cut it? Because I had long hair for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember. So you had long hair too. I cut it. God, probably was like 2018. The reality was, I was working as a bartender for a long time, and it was easy to grow your hair out when you're doing that. You throw a fucking hat on, throw a beanie on, whatever. I got a job in like corporate sales, and they're just like, so
when are you going to cut it?
That needs to go immediately. And so I cut it all off. I do miss it. I really do. I don't miss waking up with it. Because the amount of times I'd like wake up and it's plastered to my face. Yeah. I'm just like trying to find where I could breathe. You
wake up, you look like that fat dude in that show, 90 Day Fiance, with no neck. There's that meme of him when he gets up and the hair. That's what I look like. There's memes of me next to him that my friends created. And you look like the fat guy who went for the Filipino lady. Are you married? Do you have a girl? I
am. I'm married.
Oh, when'd you get married?
2020.
20. I don't know what year we're in. We're in 2022, right?
Yeah.
So is that the pandemic? Was that 2020?
Yeah. So our wedding actually got canceled.
Did you have a Zoom wedding or what'd you guys do?
No, we did a little outdoors. So we had a wedding planned for May 2nd of 2020.
Okay.
So as everything starts shutting down, we're like, oh, maybe it'll work. Maybe we'll get there. And nope, wedding ended up getting canceled. Moved on. We're like, we'll just do something outside. So we went to a little place, like 50 people, got married outside. It was good because it lined up with like getting pregnant like a week later. So it was like, oh yeah, this was.
My son's not a daughter. Daughter is not a bachelorette. Is that?
No, she is not. We were married when she got pregnant. So
no, I'm not married to my child. Technically, it's a B word, but I'm not going to call him that on the air. And then I don't know if I have a second child. You want to have more kids?
I do.
Yeah, I want to have. I want a daughter because I want to have a daughter. But if we have a son, then I think I still need to stop. I don't want to have any more kids. And so was it a planned pregnancy?
It was. And my line's it too as well. Like I have my daughter. I would love to have like a son.
Yeah.
But even if we have a daughter, I'm getting my nuts hot wired. Like I'm done. We're getting a vasectomy like as soon as that baby's born.
So scared of that surgery. Even though my friends have had it. Eric Pinnell had it. My other buddy who I'm playing golf with this Saturday had it. And it's like they tell me it's like, oh, they put your balls on ice, they do a snip. The idea of it scared because I've torn my penis several times. Yeah. So my penis has a curve to the right because when I was about 16 years old, I was in the bathroom, doing the whatever with myself, and I had conditioner, and it was so lubricated that it gave me speeds. It was like steroids. It gave me speeds that I never had, and I was like, that's not natural, right? So it was going, and then it tore. And
wait, hold on. You jerked off so hard you tore your own penis?
Yes, because of the conditioner, right? I think Pantene Pro V or
through lubrication still.
Yeah, because it was with the water and the conditioner, it just made it so fast. It was dangerous, right? And it's like they should have a warning label on conditioner.
100%.
100%, and it tore, and I was scared, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. I didn't want to tell my mom. You know what I mean? So I did finish in pain.
Obviously,
I did finish.
yeah.
I'm a man. It's disgusting.
Yep.
We're disgusting creatures. And then I finished, and then it took about a week or something to heal. And when it healed, because it was a tear, it healed this way, it contracted, and now there's a little bit of a curve.
Okay.
Because it was in the bottom right, back into the right, back into the right. It was like a JFK type of thing, and then it healed, and so I lost a little bit. I lost some centimeters, millimeters. I don't know the metric system. What is it? Dirty
No Americans do.
Yeah, dirty, nasty American. I forget what the phrase is. But then it was like, so that's my penis, and I recently, I think twice, I tore it. When me and my girl started dating, I never had the backdoor stuff.
Okay.
And my girl, she's like, she likes the backdoor. And so I was like, all right. And it was not a lot of, like a little bit of spit. Remember Brokeback Mountain?
I do.
That scene, you know what I mean? It was like a little bit of spit, and it was still kind of dry. And then I tore it, and it tore that thing that holds it, the little rope. Oh, you're not circumcised, but you still have it. On the bottom, that shit tore. And then I looked at it, it was blood. And I didn't finish that time. I was fucking deadly scared. And I told my friends, he's like, oh, it's happened to me. So somewhat. And it was like, just, yeah. He's like, you got to, I use coconut oil, whatever. And I was like, so it tore, and it took about a week to heal. And then it was, I think there was one, the one more, this is the last one.
Well, you've done this 3 times now.
Yeah. Twice in the last year and a half. We're in the shower. No. And it was like, the water is hard. We don't have a water softener.
Okay.
So then again, in that door, the rear door, and then it tore, and it hurt. And I remember it was peeing. It really peed a lot. It hurt. And we were at the baby shower, and I was like, it would hurt violently when I peed. It hurt a lot. So I remember I messaged my sister. She was like, still on the way. It's like, I need you to go to the store and get my Polish friend's like, you need Vagisil. I'm telling you, put the Vagisil on. I was like, okay, I got it. I put it on. It made the pee somewhat like manageable. And then that's the last time I tore. Now I'm aware, like, I need to be careful. Like,
now you know, like, your speeds you can hit before tearing your penis.
Yeah. Have you ever torn your penis? Or?
I've never torn it. I did slam it in a drawer one time.
How?
So I was like 15 or 16, got out of the shower, and I had like a lower dresser. Mm-hmm. And so like I pulled my underwear, I throw it on the bed, and I was, I guess, standing too close and just caught the tip right in the drawer. And I remember hitting the ground, and I'm like in the fetal position, and my sister comes like running. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I need ice. I need you just to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Don't come in here. Just throw an ice pack in here. Something's wrong." Yeah,
we need to like make it okay for men to talk about their torn penises.
I think that's a good move, because there's no way we're the only ones that have done this shit.
There was that mentally challenged child in a movie with Cameron Diaz who hurt. Oh no, he didn't do it. Ben Stiller put the zipper.
Ben Stiller zipped it up.
That's why I'm a button guy for that, because there's a few times when I've caught the skin on that thing. I don't want to be. This is a what is it? I don't say Christian podcast anymore. It's a Jewish Baptist podcast, because Bobby Lee said it once and it bothered me. But anyways, I don't feel like jokes. You write jokes and you see somebody else's joke and it's something similar and it's like, all right, and it like upsets you. And
that is one of the worst things with being a comedian, is when you think you wrote like a really good bit. Like I wrote a bit about the self-checkout lanes at the grocery store. And I'm talking to Vince Crow, another comic in Chicago, about it. And he's like, I actually have a joke about that. I was like, God damn it. And he's like, and actually Bill Burr had
to think about it.
I was like, fuck, that was a really funny joke. But there's no possible, no matter how I reworded it, there's no way to do a joke about that now.
No, that happened with me with Richard Pryor. I had this, and it was one of my good jokes. I didn't have a lot, you know what I mean? It was my first few years, and it was
right.
It was fresh out of jail joke, something. And I remember, I didn't know Richard Pryor was a comedian, a stand-up comedian. I knew Richard Pryor.
Acting shit.
I just knew him as the guy with the white dude movies. He was blind, right. The white dude was deaf, and then he was a toy. That's how I knew Richard Pryor, right? And I was like, and as I got older, I got the Apple. I'm so old. And the Apple Music. And I'm sitting there, I'm walking a dog I used to have dogs. They're all gone. And I know you're a dog guy.
I am a dog guy.
Yeah, so that dog, he didn't die, but the person I was with, it didn't work out between us, so you lose the dog. It's like a child. All right, YOLO, it happens. But anyways, and I'm listening, I'm watching, and then Richard Pryor does, and I hear the joke, and it's like, fuck, this is my fucking joke. And then I was like, so I went to Shuba's. I did it, open mic here in Chicago. I think that Buds was running at the time. I did it one last time, and I was like, this is the last time I do this joke. And then I was like, rest in peace, my baby.
It sucks. Because again, we're creating stuff. So when you create something you think is really good, it's so exciting.
And I didn't have a lot, so it's like, oh man, this is one of my few jokes that actually gets laughs, and I just got to let it go. But I heard He was black. What's his name? Patrice O'Neill talk about it. It's like then you just keep writing more. It's to motivate you to write more and then to do more to comedy, right?
Well, I heard somebody once, I can't remember who said it, but he's like, you just write honestly. And like sometimes you're going to have material overlap. It's going to happen. But if you're writing honestly, it's your joke. Now, if you hear somebody that, hey, you honestly wrote the same thing as them, if they got on TV first, you can't do the joke anymore. But, you know, I've had jokes that I've written. I've heard other people. I'm like, it's kind of similar, but I didn't hear that before I wrote this one. So I'll keep doing it. But even then, there's always something about that joke that I'm just like, it's not fully mine, so I'm not going to do it.
It feels weird. It feels dirty. Like it's like sleeping with a stepchild. Not child, fucking sibling. This is step sibling. It's like, all right, it's not my sister, but kind of my sister.
But it's kind of my sister.
Like, all right, like porn is not like real life. This is kind of gross.
When did porn go completely to
step?
Like, was it Game of Thrones that kind of set that in motion, or
I think it was happening? Was it? I remember. I didn't see Game of Thrones, but I know they were doing that.
There's a lot of incest in it. But like growing up, when you used to have like Kazaa or Napster, or whatever you downloaded porn on, it was like the secretary at the office or your friend's hot mom.
The pizza delivery guy.
Right. Everything now is, hey, step bro. Like, why do we have... And also, no one fucking talks like that. Why are we talking to each other by how I'm related to you? It's a weird...
Yeah, like cousins, though. I've never slept with her. That's funny. I was just DMing a girl right now the other day about a show I have tomorrow. And then, so I have a girlfriend, but I have all these girls that I had on Facebook because I added them because this was my Facebook. Family, comedians, bookers, possible fans, or women I want to sleep with, right? The people I should know, that was my date. I didn't use the apps. Facebook, social media was my dating app. And I was like, I just messaged, this girl, it's some good-looking chick I added a while ago, I guess. So I sent her the thing, and then I get back. I was like, oh, actually, I already follow you, cuz, on social media and things like that. And I was like, thank God that happened to me once. I was messaging a girl, and we're going to hang out. And then she told me, she's like, there were like clues, right? Like maybe same part of Mexico.
Right.
Ocampo, the last name, or something else. Anyways. And then and she's like, do you know if we're related? Who's your dad? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And then I asked my mom. And she's like, no, she's not. I told her she's not our cousin, right? And then, so nothing happened. Like I was working on a bit where something happened. Nothing happened with us, but I was planning it. I was like, let's hang out, come to the house, drink. I was like, here we go. And like a few days later, my mom was like, oh no, she calls me. Oh, that is your cousin. I was like, Mom, like you didn't even vet it. She was just like, no, that's not your cousin. It's like, I'm not going to sleep with her, but there's a lot of cousins sleeping. And kind of like white people don't sleep with their cousins unless they're white trash. Or
I mean, white trash do, but so here's really fun with the Italian. So I'm half Italian.
Hey,
yeah.
What's the other half?
Irish.
Oh, you're
Irish.
white as fuck.
I am white.
Well,
as fuck,
I mean that type of white, like aggressively.
No, yeah, you're
urban ethnic.
Yeah,
you guys are like kind of like Mexicans,
right? Well, I married a Mexican. So
did you?
Yeah, so my wife's 100% Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah, but Italians. Our thing is we are apparently related to everyone else that's Italian. Like I have people, everyone's your uncle, even if it's like your dad's friend growing up. It's my Uncle Bobby. But my cousin Dominic was the worst with it because he would tell everyone in this town of Lombard that he was like related to he was the big guy in the town. He was the big fighter. Like that was his like kind of identity. And one night I meet up with this girl and we were like making out. And someone comes up to me, they're like, dude, that's so fucked up. You just made out with your cousin. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, Gianna's your cousin. I'm like, no, she's not. Dominic said he's related to Anthony. I'm like, Dominic's full of shit. Like, I'm not related to this dude at all. And I go over to him like, you need to stop doing that. I'm trying to fuck this girl right now. And you're really messing this shit up.
Yeah, dude.
Like, we're not related.
How did you and your lady meet? She met. You're already doing comedy, right? So she knew the deal. What the fuck was up?
So Jess and I actually went to junior high together.
Your wife is named Jess too. My girlfriend's named Jessica.
Yeah,
I'll marry her one day, but she eats too much.
That's a reason.
DoorDash is very expensive. I'm trying to pay it on my credit card.
Oh, dude, my wife's Amazon shit is very concerning.
So I was like, it's like chicken wings or a ring,
Yeah.
and right now it's chicken wings and Dunkin' Donuts iced coffees. Yeah, but once she
fair.
calms down and I make a little bit more money, I need to get a ring. I'm still like a little bit old school, but right now,
No, I get it.
Capital One.
I get it.
Yeah, stopping us.
We met in junior high though. Actually, didn't date, weren't like friends, just knew each other. And she came into a restaurant I was working at like 7-8 years ago, and was like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in forever. Like, great to see you. Take it easy." She left, and like 10 minutes later, I get a message on Facebook. Be like, "Hey, you, it was great seeing you." I'm like, "She wants to fuck me."
Yes,
that's I still bring this shit up to her all the time. Like, "Hey, remember that time you went after me like in the beginning?"
Did she deny it? My girlfriend
Oh,
denies
no, she
it.
gave up. Like, she first said it. She's like, that's not true. And I was like, I have evidence.
Mine was
of
on
this.
mine was on Snapchat, so it disappeared.
Oh.
Because what happened with me was I was single most of my life. I wasn't a relationship guy at all.
Same here.
Yeah, same. So I was single. I liked it. That's what it was. And then I saw her on Facebook. She was my people I should know. I had her at one point, mutual friends. And I was like, I'd like to hang out with her, but part of me did not want it because I was like, I think there's something, maybe there might be something more, and I don't want that right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was ready to go on a roll. I just got my new car, and it was like, no. So I kept pushing it back, and finally I was like up editing the podcast, and then she was out, and then I messaged her on Snapchat, and we're like, oh, maybe we should hang out, the schedule, figure it out, and then she like, oh, we should hang out, and I was like, yeah, we should. She said that, and then I was up, and she was out, and I was like, what about tomorrow? She was talking to me, and she was talking to the guy who had no car, who was asking her to give her a ride to pick her up, and she's like, look, I'm not.
That's not a good look.
She's like, I'm not. You can meet me, figure it out, but I'm not gonna pick you up on our first date. And then I was like. So I was like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I was like, what do you like to eat? She's like, seafood. I was like, sushi tomorrow at 7. You know, women, assertiveness, you know, like that.
It's a good move.
So we hung out, you know what I mean? And then I was supposed to hang out with this other crazy Polish chick that evening. But I was like, I was having such a good time that I lied to her about family, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know,
you don't want to close the door, but
yeah,
just got to push to the side for a minute.
Yeah, just over there. I'll meet you just right there. I'll see you in a little bit. But then I did a podcast. My podcast doesn't come out for weeks. I have a backlog. So I can say things, and I have 6 weeks before Jessica gets mad at me if she listens to it. You know what I mean? But that one, these guys released it the next day. So I did it, and I don't record. I think I had booze, but I don't really record, usually somewhat sober. But they gave me booze, and I was like, all right, yeah. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I went this day, I blew this chick off. She hears the next day, she messages me. She's like, so you blew me off to take another girl on a proper date? And I was like, yes. And she's like, and she still wanted to hang out that weekend because Jessica had her son. So I was like, all right. And then she was like, at the end of the date, she was like, I will destroy your life. I wanted to punch you in the face because I used to do drugs, allegedly, right? White drugs that were powdery, looked like this, allegedly, right? So I have a day job. And then I told her when we hung out, she's like, how often do you do this? I was like, a few times during the week and on weekends. It's a Friday. We hung out on a Saturday. At the end of the night, she was like, my sister said you were going to the bathroom. Were you doing drugs? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I told you. And she's like, how dare you disrespect me from my family, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, because before she had blue eyes. And then I've never hung out with a chick with blue eyes. So I'm drinking, I'm looking, I'm like, this is cool. I call my friend. I was like, only white women from now on. Never again. And then as soon as all this happened, and I was like, never again. You know, I called him. He's like, yes, because he loves crazy white women. And it was not for me. So then I was like, no, that's not going to happen. So you were a bartender for a while?
For a while, yeah.
Did you ever have to break any fights up, or was it a peaceful place? It was like just
I didn't have to break any fights up. I did have some very interesting things happen. So I worked at a bar called Henry's in River North. It was right across the street from El Jefe.
The City. Oh, El Jefe.
Yes.
Oh, Rapo. Yeah, I know that place.
So this place was kind of the opposite of that. It was really chill.
Not
like,
douchey.
No, cool music, but the big mistake they made.
Shirts, yeah.
No affliction shirts. The big mistake they made there is the bathroom in the basement. The stalls went like this far off the ground. It's like 2 inches. So it's like you could have guys just blowing rails in the bathroom. You'd have no idea who's in the stalls. And then upstairs, they had 2 bathrooms with smoke glass windows. So you could see if somebody was in there, but you couldn't really like see them.
Yeah.
So I'm taking care of a bachelorette party one night, and I walk past the bathroom, and I see some chick just getting railed from behind, like through the smoke glass window. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not handling this. Go get my manager. She comes over, sees them, bangs on the door. They're like, yeah, 1 sec. He's like, guys, can you see me right now? They're like, yeah. He goes, all right, think about that for a second.
If you can see me.
Right. Dude pulls his pants up. She pulls out. They come out. The woman in the bathroom getting fucked was the bride. The guy was not the groom.
Oh.
Which would
Were
not
they
have,
white? Were they white?
They were white.
Okay.
Yep. Which would not have been a problem if the groom's sister wasn't also at that bachelorette party, runs over, tackles the bride, and they just start going at it on the ground. My boss is looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go make drinks. I'm not doing this shit at all.
This is above my pay grade.
But that was probably the most fun thing I ever got to see while I was bartending.
I had sex at a so Wisconsin has a thing called Quick Trip. I've recently had sex at a Quick Trip, maybe like 2 weeks ago.
The gas station?
Yeah. Yeah. You never had sex at a gas? Well, I mean, it was like the morning I want to have sex. We didn't have sex before we went out. She wanted to have sex. we didn't have sex because she said something. We brought up, she brought something else that happened earlier. So it was like a little mini fight.
Right.
And she's like, I wanted to have sex. So I was like, well, I wanted to have sex. So we had this pent up aggression towards each other, but we still wanted to fuck each other. And at the end of the night, we're at the quick trip because she always eats. She's an eater. She loves eating every second of the day. So then we go and then we're walking. I was like, we're going to the bathroom. I was like, oh, we're going to have sex. So then we did and whatever. But I did like this. I focused because I was drinking. So sometimes it's harder for me to.
Guys, take a little more focus when you're drunk.
Yeah, sometimes like it won't happen at all. So I was super. I was actually watching it today, like the other day when I was using my fleshlight. So I got it for Christmas. Did I bring up the fleshlight?
You did bring up the fleshlight. Yeah, they're our sponsor today.
Yeah, they are our sponsor today. I forgot. So when'd you start comedy?
About 6 years ago.
How'd you start it?
So I was actually I worked as an actor in California for a while. That didn't really work out.
L.A.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it was not fun. It's such
everybody's
a weird place.
in the biz there.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
So I moved back. I got burnt out in the industry. No, short hair at the time.
Okay.
I actually auditioned to play Adam Sandler at 18 years old in That's My Boy.
Yeah.
And so I shaved my head to look like him. I didn't get the part, but so I was at short hair back then, and I moved back to Illinois. And I was kind of just done with acting, with everything. And then I got into my little party mode a little bit, went a little rave crazy for a while. Yeah.
The glow sticks?
Yep, glow sticks, lots of fun drugs that make you feel all good stuff. But things kind of spiraled, and I was like, you know what? I need to reset. I called my mom, can I come, I need 2-3 months to just kind of live with you, reset, go somewhere else. And during those 2-3 months, I was at the gym, working out, and I'm telling my buddy this story about this really weird Tinder date I went on. And he's like, this guy next to us just starts laughing. He's like, man, that was great. You should come out and do my show sometime. It was a guy named Connor Duffy. He used to run a show at Fitz's Spare Keys in Elmhurst.
Yeah, him and some other guy.
Yeah, Pat.
Patrick Fitzgerald, but something.
Something like that. I don't remember his last name.
Yeah,
but
that guy had a shaved head.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Connor's like, yo, you should come out and do my show. I'll give you 20 minutes. I was like, sweet. Not knowing at the time that giving someone who has never done stand-up comedy 20 minutes is just ridiculous.
Brutal, yeah.
But I went out, I did the 20 minutes. I mean, my jokes weren't funny and I rambled a lot and, it was kind of a disaster, but it was fun. And I was like, I can keep doing this. And yeah, it hit. I got really, really lucky early on too with guys like Vince Carone and Ben Hamilton and even guys like Mike Stricker, who at the time was booking shows all over the place. So they gave me a lot of places to get to perform and really learn how to do this. So I credit everything to those people to where I'm at right now. I just got really, really lucky with some cool people kind of saying, we're going to bring you along and let you come guest spot on shows and stuff like that.
Hockey. Are you still a big hockey player, or it's a violent sport,
it's
right?
A very
I don't
understand.
Sport. So there's 3 periods. I don't understand how to work. I asked John about it. John Torres.
Yeah.
Have you guys played against each
other?
other?
John and I have played together. Yeah.
Have you? Who's better?
I am.
Okay.
John's good, but I'm.
What's your position? You're not an aggressor, right? You have skill, or
I'm
are you
a little bit of
violent
both.
guy? Okay.
So. Well, nowadays, men's league, you don't actually get to check, so it's a lot less violent.
The hitting, right?
Yeah, John would have beaten the shit out of me on the ice. No question. He was definitely could have done that part of the game better than me.
But hockey's like what the NBA is now. It's before.
Yeah, it's a lot less. I mean, they're still fighting. There are still guys that'll just absolutely beat the shit out of people. But
did you get in a fight?
Yeah.
The gloves came off?
Yeah.
Who wins? When is it over?
Usually when you hit the ice.
Okay.
So, and hockey fighting's different. There's a respect that goes into it. So it's very rare that once the fight hits the ice, both guys are still going. It's usually a handshake after that. It's almost like a gladiator kind of thing of you had the balls to do this, the respect's there. But I only got in one fight in juniors, and I got the shit beat out of me.
The guy was bigger, skillful, because
just a better fighter.
Do people train? Do hockey players train now to MMA? Or
they do MMA. They do boxing
for hockey.
Yeah. Well, there's also this new thing I saw on ESPN where it's a little mini rink, and it's just guys fighting. It's a one-on-one.
Are these
fight.
Russians?
I'm sure some of them are. It's the Canadians, though.
Oh.
The Canadians are fucking crazy, especially the ones from Calgary, up in the Stampede
That's where
country.
Bret
and shit.
Hart's from.
Yeah. So those fucking people are nuts. But yeah, fighting in hockey, it's not like regular fighting because there's the whole balance side of it. And so
you're on skates,
right? So it's all about getting the jersey and the leverage. And this dude got
a little jiu-jitsu there.
Yeah.
I see it.
Dude got a hold of my shoulder and just pulled me down, and I got uppercutted in the face 3 times. And I was like, I'm just going to score goals from now on. I don't want to do the whole getting my ass kicked part.
Do you cry? Are you a crier at all?
I don't. I tried not to, but you get punched in the nose. You don't really have a choice.
Non-violent crying, emotional crying.
No, I'm Irish. My feelings don't really exist. It's, yeah. Like we just bottle everything up. Does
that
not
ever
healthy.
come out?
Usually in a really unhealthy way.
Yeah. Are there any holes in any walls?
Not so much holes in walls anymore. Like hockey is a good outlet.
Release.
Like just go out there and just like take shots or something like that. But yeah, it builds up for a while and then you have like a major blowout. And then it's weird. It's like as soon as you get it out, it's like, all right, I'm good. My wife's like, I'm not okay with anything that just happened.
It's scary.
Like, no, I feel better though now. I let all that go and now.
Yeah, and it's scary because I've let a few go and she's like, I don't like this person that came out. And I'm but now what I do is I'm angry all the time. Well, this is me. I've always been like, I'm angry all the time at little things. Like I'm driving and I get upset. I play golf. Just like little stupid things. I'm mad for like a second. I say something horrible like, I hate the city more than, like, okay, I came here yesterday. I came here today and I'm coming tomorrow. I'm city burnt out. Like the traffic, I was here. Suburbs, there's not too many hipsters. Like I saw them today.
No.
The bikes. Look, there's nothing wrong with riding a bicycle, right? It's completely like I have a bicycle. I like riding, but I don't know why it upsets me when I see a guy on a bicycle in a car. Like on the way up here, I saw a guy and it's like, oh, I just hit him. I did not hit him. But I wanted to hit him.
There's a lot of bike riders in Chicago that deserve to get hit by cars.
Yeah, right.
It's like, hey, you want to ride your bike, but follow the same rules of the road. You don't get to run red lights. You don't get to go through stop signs. Like when you do those kind of things, I hope you clip a parked car.
What happened on that Tinder date?
The one that joke came from?
Yeah.
It's my Jesus story.
The chick, she had
that's actually the first joke I ever wrote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
she had a back tat. She had a Jesus.
She did. So the real story is that she had angel wings tattooed on her back.
Yeah.
And I remember and again, this was maybe a year before I even told this story of just being like, this is one of the dumbest fucking, like, why would people get this shit tattooed on the back of them? And first of all, this is only for whoever is fucking you from behind. Like nobody else has seen this tattoo. And she had it like elbow to elbow.
God.
Right. Well, God too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that, and all that was going through my head as we were fucking was that sound of Mario jumping on Yoshi, like flying in the fucking like old Super Nintendo game. And so when I originally wrote the joke, that's how I wrote it was, this going on. And then I was hanging out with Vince Carone, and he's like, it's a funny joke, but like, you should make the tattoo worse. Like you should make it more offensive, something that would be more disturbing. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know. What do you think about Jesus? And he's like, that's really fucked up. Yes, do that. That's and now, I close with that joke a lot. It's fun that joke that got me into comedy, and it's changed so much over the last 5-6 years that I still get to do it and that people still really like it. And yeah, it's fun.
You don't have any. I see you seem clean. You don't have any tattoos, right?
I don't. I've wanted to get them for a while, but
what'd you want to get?
Well, again, like when my daughter was born, she wound up in the NICU for a few days. So like her heart monitor was like the only thing that like kept me and my wife sane.
Oh my God.
And as tacky as it is like to have her heartbeat tattooed on me, I really wanted to do that.
That was hot for like a year.
Yeah.
For like a few years ago, like every girl I met at the bar in Waukegan it was like a heart, and it was a heart, an actual heart, the rate, and it meant something. I don't remember what it meant. Like
I wanted to do something like, and first of all, like the heart rates that you see like in like TV and shit, that's not what they look like. It's just a giant like squiggly line. And so I was like, I want to get that and like have her name kind of put into it somehow, like something that was a little bit more personal. I didn't give a shit if people could see it. It was more for me. Unfortunately, my wife threw that piece of paper out that had her heart rate on it. You
didn't want to make a fake one.
No,
anymore.
I was like, I don't want to do the tacky one that like, the Grey's Anatomy heartbeat.
No, those are disgusting. I have you ever seen a movie, American History X?
Yeah.
Edward Norton. Remember the two dogs he had on his back? So he had the one on his chest. I forgot.
Okay.
The Indian,
I've not seen that movie in probably 20 years.
So he had a swastika on his chest, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he played basketball. It shows up the swastika.
Right.
But on his back, there were these two. So I had a dog, right? The Lobo Den. My first dog was Lobo. Lobo means wolf. And that's not him. But my parents sent him away to like Arizona, allegedly. I don't know what happened. So I was like heartbroken. Like, where's he at? What happened to him? Like, I wish he would have just died. There's closure there.
Right. There's no closure in not knowing what happened.
Yeah, there's nothing. And then I was like, okay. So out of spite, I went across the border because you could be 18 in Wisconsin to get tattoos. And I got that. And then I wanted to get, and it sucked. It says Lobo on it, but it was too small. The day before I went, I was like, it was supposed to be Sublime. Remember?
Right, yeah.
He had the big Sublime around his bag. I was like, that's what we had. And I go back, and he was like, no, it's $250, and it's going to be this big. And then I was like, That's when I should have been like, no. But I was like, if I don't get it now, I'm never gonna get it. So I was like, fuck it, just.
And you're 18.
Yeah, just fucking put the tattoo on my back, and I hated it so much because it was like my back, and then there was this little Lobo on my back, and I was like, I want to get like maybe some dogs, and I looked up like Rottweilers or cool Rottweilers or aggressive Rottweilers, and one of the pictures was Edward Norton from Maker History. He was a white supremacist.
Yeah,
he had the dog, and I was like, those.
Put those
so
on
I
my
have the American History X, and yeah, they're on my back. I don't know. You never see me with my shirt off? No,
I haven't. No,
naked. Do you like your body? You don't have body. You're a good looking dude.
I don't really have any. I don't. I'm kind of one of those people that, like, I don't know if it's like I'm apathetic towards life or I'm just like a positive towards life. Like things don't really bug me that much. I smoke a lot of weed. That helps too.
When did you start smoking weed?
So I started when I was like 17, but
Barely
that was
legal?
very like
Okay.
on and off. It wasn't until hockey career ended, and then I was like, all right, well, I don't really drink that much, and I have really bad ADD, so it kind of like allows me to be somewhat normal.
I had that with a different substance that I'm not allowed to use anymore, but it was because fentanyl. But it was like this. But it really like it was because I don't. Have you taken Adderall?
I have.
Okay, I don't. Are you a fan of it? I don't.
No,
like it. I hate
I'm
it.
not.
I don't know how it makes me feel. It makes you feel, but when I took it, and I felt like my personality was in here, and it was trying to come out and be like, "Hey, it's crazy, wild, fun, Giovanni." And on the outside, I was like, "Yes,
Right.
conform, go to work." And I did not like that. But the other thing, it only lasted like 45 minutes or something like that. And I was like, oh, I can get some work done, edit the podcast, things like that. But then it was taken away because fucking fentanyl. And you could die. You could die. Are you afraid of death? You're a religious guy?
I'm not. No.
Your parents aren't Catholic?
They are.
Yeah.
I got sent to Catholic school for high school, and that pretty much eliminated any.
Did they hit you?
They hit other kids.
But you were chill.
Yeah, like I was a smart ass. I got reprimanded a lot, but I never really crossed any lines to the point where like I'd get smacked. Mm-hmm. But 4 years of religion classes pretty much beat any chance of me following anything like that.
Speaking of beating, did your parents hit you? Beat you?
No,
Not beat you.
Not really, no.
The parents, okay, so good parents, both of them loving parents, brothers and sisters.
I got twin sisters.
Oh, twins. Any black sheeps? But you're not the black sheep.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I've always kind of done the entertaining thing, so everyone kind of knew I'd probably end up doing something like this. Mm-hmm. But I guess, I mean, the black sheep honestly would probably be my sister Taylor, and not a black sheep in a bad way. She's fucking brilliant. Like, she's a nurse practitioner. If she'd been put on a better path earlier on in life, I think she would have become a doctor, but we had really shitty guidance counselors at my high school. So
where'd you go? You're
I went to Driscoll in Addison.
Oh, Addison. Yeah. So what was your Riddles? Did you start at Riddles a little bit, or
Riddles was one of my first spots.
You're by Medina.
So yeah, Riddles was one of my first spots. I used to do Comedy Shrine. I got with them.
Did it close again, Comedy Shrine?
I think it is closed again right now. I've heard they're reopening in the spring though.
Okay.
I headlined like one of the last shows there before they closed. So they're like, "We're putting your poster up on the wall." I'm like, "Awesome!" And then no one's ever gonna fucking see it because.
No. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
But the suburbs has got a bunch of great clubs.
What's that new one? The Vault?
Comedy Vault.
Comedy Vault, right?
Yeah.
Who started that? When did that pop out?
So they're actually about to celebrate their 1 year. I think this weekend or next weekend. I was there 2 weekends ago, featuring for Justin Hires, and it's a really fun room. It's more of a wide setup, so there's like 4 or 5 rows, and then it kind of goes across the entire room. But it's a really fun club. It's another cool spot out there.
Did you watch The Notebook?
Did I watch The Notebook?
movie,
I've actually never seen that movie.
No,
I've never been notebooked.
And you've never? I notebooked my friends.
Really?
I went to see The Notebook. Chris, you've seen The Notebook, right? You've never seen The Notebook, No Desire? No? Okay. I guess my friend just saw it. She's like, it's kind of toxic. Like, this is kind of fucked up. But in The Notebook, I went to go see it with a lady, and I cried. I cry a lot. Because I
so
pent
you
it
are
up.
a crier. Okay.
I'm a crier. Like, now I'm a big crier. But before... all the time. Like, remember the movie Brother Bear? I cried at that.
Okay.
ESPN. It was like they were playing a documentary about the Buccaneers, the 70s Buccaneers. Okay. And they lost the whole season. They went defeated.
Right.
The whole season. And the next season, they were about to go defeated again the second season. And the last game they won, I was watching, started crying. But I saw a Notebook. I was like, okay, cry. And then I was like, I told my friends, we got to see this movie. And these are my guy friends. So I brought them all to the house, to my one friend. And then they started watching the movie. I was like, this is a chick. Like, What do you? And I was like, because I don't care. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to like look. I want I want you to see the Notebook. But it was like, and afterwards, like, was it good? Did you like? Yeah, but like maybe it's not the movie like to bring your friends to. Like, I don't. Do you watch? I don't watch anything new. I watch a lot of Seinfeld. That's about it.
Okay.
So you watch the new shows, right?
Depends on what it is.
Like Sons of Anarchy, I never saw. So you were talking about it earlier, and I was like, I don't know if I'll ever see it. But Sons of Anarchy reminds me. Have you been arrested before?
I've not.
No. Okay. So I used to think everybody was arrested.
Right.
How I grew up, I was like, oh, you've been my girlfriend was, you've been to jail, and her friend, you've been to jail, and they're like, no. Like, who gets? And I was like, I thought everybody just got arrested. And I remember I got arrested. What the fuck did I get arrested? I got arrested because I got a car accident when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
I had my first car was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. My dad legit won in a poker game. My dad used to be Coyote, so you bring people aboard.
Okay.
And I remember like be people in the basement, and he was downstairs. Legit, I have a bit about this. For 2 days, they were in the basement. They were playing poker. And at the end of the day, he comes out. He gives me some keys. He's like, "Hey, this is your car now. I won this, right?" But my dad was a cheater. And
okay.
I didn't know. I don't know if you ever found anything about your dad, and it's like a memento moment. You go or M. Night Shyamalan movie when it goes back, and you're like, oh, because I used to play. He would teach me how to play poker, so he'd play with me. But I'd see him with his heat gun and a needle, repackaging the playing cards, right? And I'm like, I'm just watching. And I was like, what is he doing? Whatever. Don't think of it. Now that I'm older, he was marking the cards. And cheating, you know what I mean, to win me a Mitsubishi Eclipse. So I was going to work. I'm Mexican. We have a very Mexican work ethic. So I used to work at a toy store. I was driving up there. It was stick, right? And I got in a car accident. The front was completely demolished, and the person in front of me barely had anything. And I got a ticket. I got 2 years supervision, which is extreme. So I couldn't do anything for 2 years, or else I get my license suspended. That's what they gave me, 2 years supervision, and I didn't realize that's like extreme. You only get like a few months, and I didn't know. It was my first accident. So then, because of that, for like years, I was just in and out of court. Always every time I got a ticket, suspended license. So got arrested on, it's just that. So
right.
And I grew up in that courthouse for 4 years of my life. And then it's like, I didn't even get a DUI like a real Mexican.
Right.
Or something like that. So you don't drink. So you've never had a DUI scare or anything like that?
Oh, I drink. I prefer smoke weed. I don't drink a ton. No, I've definitely had a couple. So like any time that I have one of those moments, and it happens with comedy clubs a lot, because comedy clubs do not pour alcohol correctly when you do like bourbon. Mm-hmm. Like they have the heaviest pours of anywhere I've ever been. And I remember like, I'll be at a club like, yeah, I'll do like a Knob Creek on with like 1 or 2 ice cubes in it. And they'll bring out a rocks glass that is filled to the top with 100 proof bourbon. So it's like, awesome. Show ends. And I'm like, well, I got to drive home now. And I just remember like the whole way driving home, like if I get pulled over, I'm completely fucked. There is no chance I'm talking my way out of this. But I've been lucky. So now I just don't order hard alcohol at comedy clubs anymore. Now it's just order a beer.
Yeah, I can't. So I was drinking. I got pulled over last week.
Really?
I got pulled. I went to a show to go support. It was a local show, right? It was Anthony Fuentes.
Oh,
and
nice.
then Calvin Evans, right?
Oh, okay.
And then I went up there to go support. I was like, it's close. I want to go see if I can get a chance. So got a babysitter. Like now, you got to get a babysitter. You got to do all this stuff. So we went, and then we went out to go drink. You know, now like my girl would go and want to go out, and I'm like, why are you going out today? She's like, I don't understand. She's at the house all day with the baby, like you can lose your mind. And I didn't get it. We got into arguments at first. So I get home from work, it's like, hey, I was working. She's like, you don't understand. I'm not just hanging out. Like the baby is, he needs your attention all the time. You can't like, okay, maybe I could. All right, the baby fell asleep. Do I sneak in a shower? Do I sneak in a nap? Like, do you
try to eat at some point?
Yeah. Do you try to eat? And I didn't get until like I had to watch the baby, and then when she worked, I was like, oh, you can't do shit. And then I was like, I get it. So then we went out to drink, but it was in Wisconsin where it's a whole different place. We got pulled over, and then I was like, I was like, I'm not going to DUI. Like, I was like, I'm not. And I'm like, and the guy came and he asked me, he's like, you've been drinking? I was like, no, I've not. Right. And because I told her, let me do the talking. I've been pulled over a lot. So I know what I'm doing. And I was like, I thought like, there's no way he's going to give, this is like it's, you know, the Bucks, the Brewers, and drinking and driving in
Right.
Wisconsin. It's a national.
Wisconsin
sport.
has a completely different view on drinking and driving than the rest of the country.
You can drink as a child.
Yeah.
As long in Wisconsin, if your parents give you consent, you can drink. I don't think there's like an age limit.
My buddy's mom used to take us up there all the time. We were like 16 and would get us shit-faced in bars.
Yeah,
like,
and it's okay if the parent condones it, and this
Yeah.
is the culture over there. And the guy's like, and I was like, there's no way he can. I feel he felt like, all right, I'm close to my house. He's not too bad. There's like no way he didn't, because afterwards she's like, your breath reeks. There, I have a thing there, a little tumbler of coffee full of vodka and club soda. And I was like, how can you not? But he's like, I get a lot of warnings. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the middle where I'm not that guy who's like, I know my rights a little bit, but I'm not aggressive with police officers. And that.
Well, no, that's the thing. As
And
long as you're
I told
polite,
him, where are you coming from? Comedy show.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Plano, was it Carolina? They used to have the show in like
Yeah.
Plano or
Oh,
something.
God.
Got pulled.
Plano show.
Yeah, that big room or whatever. Like,
The pole right in the middle of the stage.
Yes, right. I remember, like, you're doing comedy around, like, you're like a stripper, but you're like going over here between punchlines and things like that. And on the way up there, I was like, where are you going? On the way to a comedy show. Okay. Wisconsin, shows in the middle of Wisconsin. Where are you going? On the way to, I just left a comedy show. And I was like, I just don't know the speed limit, what's going to happen.
Right.
And then they let me go. And then that's it. When'd you go, what'd you sell out and go corporate? Were you doing just bartender, main job, and then you got
that
a
was
corporate
it.
gig?
And then I moved downtown with my now wife. We first moved in together, and I was like, when you get into a relationship, working the restaurant jobs with someone who does not also work in the restaurants, it's really hard. You never see each other. So I was like, all right, I'll go do sales then. And I've bounced around from a few different sales jobs.
Do you like sales?
Now.
I'm in sales.
It's
it.
fun. It definitely has
it depends. I guess it depends what you're selling. Maybe?
I'm in tech sales.
Okay.
So I do like a safety device for housekeepers in hotels. So it's basically just all day calling hotels and trying to set up demos and show them the products. And yeah.
Do you go in person? I don't. I'm all phone.
Not so much anymore. Now it's all Zoom or Microsoft Office. We do I have to go to like conventions every once in a while and go do something like that. And those are fun. I actually like getting sent to those.
What, do you leave the state?
Yeah, so I've done like Florida and Vegas, and I was up in
Florida.
Yeah, I was in Niagara Falls 2 weeks ago, out there for a conference as well. And
I went to a convention in Michigan, right? With my buddy. He's like, hey, I'm going to a convention, tagging along, right? So he's like, okay, I go with him. And we go to a convention, and I remember this because there's the truth, right, of what actually happened, and there's a story your buddy makes up.
Right.
So his lady doesn't know what he was actually up to, right? And for years I've thought I had this memory, we're at the convention, he sets up the booth, whatever, the booth fell, hit him, and bruised him in the face. And that's what was in my head. Like, that's what I thought happened. And one day I'm just thinking about the story one day, and I'm like, wait a second, that's not what happened. Oh my God. It's like, I believe the lie for so many years. What happened was we were at a bar and he got punched in the face because he was a pretty boy, right? You know what I mean? Like, my friends have been that pretty boy. I don't know what it is, but it's like those angry dudes get mad at them. It's like, and they just want to attack them.
Right.
Like those dudes, I don't know if you heard the Louis C.K. There's a joke where he talks about all these dudes going out together to try to get pussy. And then there's like 5 dudes at a time. I don't know. Did you have a MySpace?
I did not. No.
No. So I had a MySpace. It was like, do you remember the growing up Gotti?
Yeah.
Did you never had a blowout, right?
No. I did not have that hairstyle.
I didn't have it, but my friends had a blowout. So the joke was basically like, what are these guys going to do? They're going to find like a 5-vaginaed woman, like, and then they get angry and they go get a pizza and they get mad they don't get laid and they call somebody the F word, right? And then that was it. That was like, we would go. I didn't get angry. It was fun for me to going out. Like,
yeah, I never really understood that. Again, that's kind of like my personality. I like just going out and having a good time. I'm not looking to start a fight with somebody. I don't want to be involved in some shit like that. Like, I got punched in the face in hockey, as I was saying. Once you get really punched in the face one time, you're like, I don't really need to ever do this again. That was a good one-time experience.
I don't. It's what is it? Like actual fighters, people who know how to fight.
Yeah.
And they don't. They're not that guy. They don't have anything to prove.
Right.
They're not that angry dude you see who doesn't fight. You know, they watch MMA and they're like, if I can get him with that one punch.
Right.
Like
I could do this.
Yeah, I can.
No, you've never been punched in the face before. It sucks. You don't want to have it happen.
Or comedy, but people like, people think. Okay, this is what I was telling my friend the other day. The better you are at comedy, the easier it looks like. Oh, that guy is just talking.
Just talking.
Doing this. So if you're not that good, you're stumbling or whatever. It looks hard, but when you're really good, it's like, oh, you are actually like, you look like you're not doing anything.
Right.
And so I've had that where I have had guys. I was doing a show, I think with Oscar, and then some guy was watching him, and afterwards he's like, "Oh man, that's really cool how you just go up there and like talk." And I was like, "No, look, hey, motherfucker, I've seen Oscar. I've seen this joke 100 times, fucking develop." And then, did you ever do a Crane? Do you do Crane shows? Crane's Butter?
No,
you don't know Crane's Butter? He's like he does Mustangs in South Beloit.
Oh yeah, I've done that show.
But have you met Crane?
No, I've never actually met him.
No, right? No. Nobody's ever met Crane. I've gotten drink tickets, but you get paid now as a comic, right?
Yeah. I've gotten to that point, which is it's nice. It's nice not getting paid in booze
drink
anymore,
tickets, and I did. There was her name is Vicky Lynn. I did one of her shows. It was on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I got paid in drink tickets, and then I ended up with this old lady. I was a drunk. Yeah. She was a heckler. She was a heckler on the show, and it was Mr. Nate from Milwaukee, and we're making fun of her. Like, man, who's this drunk, like old bar hag, like biker, and then we're making fun of her. And then as I'm leaving, I remember the guy's like, "Hey, can you give her a ride? Can you give Jennifer a ride?" And some guy I was like, "Sure. What's the worst that can happen?" And we ended up I have sex with her in front of a Denny's, and then I drove. She had a Tinkerbell tattoo, and I never forget it. Like, I remember the whole drive on the way to work. I just saw the tattoo like on her pale skin, and or it was Tigger, one of the two. But it was, oh my God, it was very traumatic. Have you had any bad shows lately though, or no?
No, I mean, since comedy's kind of come back from 2020, I feel like audiences are more fun now than they've ever been, because it's a big thing of like, everyone heard about this like cancel culture shit. So now when people come to shows, they want to be offended. They want to hear crazier jokes. So I'm trying to think of the last like really bad show I had. I did a show up in Michigan a little while back.
Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan is hit or miss. The show is either amazing or it's an absolute train wreck. And I get to this venue, and it's at a bowling alley, and it's like in the back of the bowling alley.
Oh, bowling. I've done bowling comedy.
And
were they bowling?
No. So we walk in, there's nobody in the place. It's me and Ben Hamilton. I'm like, it's kind of weird. There's nobody here. It's like Saturday night, like 6:00. We walking back, and they're like, "Hey, so we fucked up. There's a car show in the next town over, so like everyone in this town went to it." Like, okay, so we just drove 6 hours. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, we're still gonna do this show. I was like, well, how many people do you have here? She's like, we sold 4 tickets. Like, okay. So Ben's headlining, I'm featuring. We go in the room, and the guy's like setting up the mic stand, and he's like, we'll start the show in a little bit. I'm like, okay, cool. Goes on stage, grabs me. He's like, all right, so we got a comedy show starting in about 10 minutes. And the 2 people that are both on opposite sides of the fucking room, he's like, all right, so this first comedian, he's here from Chicago, and I forgot to ask him his name. Yeah. With microphone in hand, pulls it away from his mouth and goes, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm like, "It's Brooks, man." "Bruce?" I was like, "No, Brooks." "All right, guys, give it up from Bruce for Chicago." And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Go on stage. I look at the 2 people. I'm like, hey, I understand there's only 4 of you here, but we could still have some fun. Why don't you guys like come to the middle of the room, and like I can just like talk to you guys? And they're just like, No. It's like, awesome. Well, this is going to be really fucking awkward for the next half hour. And the show was, I maybe got a chuckle at some point during the show, but otherwise it was a nightmare.
I had one friend that I would bring to comedy shows, and he was only at my worst comedy shows. One of them was, T Murph, right?
Yeah.
T Murph used to run a room, the Bolingbrook, what's the titty place? Not Hooters.
Tilt to Kill?
Tilt to Kill. It was the Bolingbrook Tilt to Kill.
There was a comedy show?
Something like that. It was look, I saw it, I messaged him, he's like, yeah, come out, do whatever minutes. It was me, Peter Daniels, Schmitty B, Amy Shanker.
Okay.
And then I go to the show, and I show up, and then he pulls me to the side, and he's like, hey, so we don't have a stage. We got the TVs on. We can leave the TVs on, or we can turn them off. It's your call. People are with the TVs on. Maybe people are staying, whatever. And I'm young. I never produced anything, and I'm like, leave them on. right? Oh yeah, big mistake. And so then he gives me the microphone, and then there's no stage, so I'm just walking around with a microphone trying to tell jokes to people. So I'm just going to table, tell jokes to them. They kind of pay attention. I leave. I have 5 minutes. I do 20 because Amy Shanker's not there, and T. Murph. I'm looking at him. He's talking to somebody over there, and I was like, he didn't give me. It's like he's not giving me the light. Am I supposed to do more time? And then. It was just, I was like, okay. And I remember Peter went up, did like 8, he had a timer. He did like 7 minutes. He's in the game. He's like, I ain't doing this shit. Right?
I was going to say, Peter's a solid comic.
He's like, I'm doing my fucking, this timer went off. He's like, thank you very much. I'm leaving. You know what I mean? And Schmitty went up, and I saw him, and he was smart. He looked at this place. He did no material. He's like, I'm not stupid. You know, he's been in the game, and I'm like, oh. And he did no material, but I watched, he's funny. He knows what he's doing. So I end up booking him, but it was him, my buddy, and this gay Honduran guy who died, rest in peace, Pineda. Great worker, man. He was one of the best workers I've ever like a lot of Hondurans, but he was a great one. Anyways, so we did the show, and then he came the other show that Buddy Wayne with, Jordan Hart.
Yeah,
he had a beef with Tim Slagle, and they have the little thing, they block each other. You didn't know about the Tim Slagle thing?
I'm not a big fan of his either, so I don't really pay attention to too much of his stuff.
Yeah, so they had a little beef, and then Tim has an anniversary, whatever. But Jordan ran a show, and to talk about hit or misses, is Indiana, right? My friend Susanna, she runs shows in Indiana, and they're great. But I went to the show in Indiana, and Jordan booked me, and 2 bartenders quit that night, right?
That's fun.
We were being heckled the whole night by the owner. The owner's wasted, drunk, going through it, and he's heckling all of us. The owner's friend was this big, like, Italian-looking dude with one of those. It's like a Kengo hat or one of those type of hats. And when I go up, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jab at the owner a little bit because he's heckling us. And then the guy goes up to me. He's like, look, if you say one more thing about Steve, whoever the owner was, he's like, I'm going to punch you in the face. And then I'm like, so I look at everybody, and I'm like, what's his name say he's going to punch? Because there's a group over here on this side of the room that's there for the comedy, and they're paying attention. And I tell him, like, look, he's going to punch me in the face. And then everybody yells at him. And then I tell him, like, look, I have 20 minutes to do. I'm going to do my time. I did it. And then during my set, one of the bartenders starts yelling at Steve, tells him to go fuck off. She leaves. There's another bartender, she quits. I forgot, during my set, or the guy used to do pressure billiards. But at the end of the night, Jordan goes, and he has to go up and tell the owner, like, hey, I need the money to pay the comics. And I gave it. Jordan went up there. He got his money, and the guy's paying the money. I'm sitting there while I'm watching, and the guy's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I've been going through a lot. And it's like, this is not... It's Indiana. Like, I was always scared of Indiana because it's like...
there's some strange shows out there.
Yeah, it's like they're not happy, and they don't like each other.
Well, I think people don't realize about stand-up comedy is, you see the comedy clubs on Netflix and YouTube, and you think that's where we perform most of the time. It's not. It's private events. It's weird bars and...
Open mics.
Yeah. The craziest show I ever did was actually the first paid show I was ever booked on. So I'm maybe... 9 months into comedy.
Like a baby.
Yeah, me and my wife have just started dating. This is the first time she's ever seen me perform. She's coming to this show. So I get booked on this show. It's at like an art studio in Pilsen. I'm opening the show, and they're like, get here early. There's going to be food. It's a whole like fundraising event. I was like, all right, sweet. I walk in.
What is this? Is Stephanie and that one guy, Alex Montelengo? They used to run shows.
No. This was this woman, Amber
Heard.
No. And Mary Muniz. I don't know if you know.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe I don't
So
remember.
they were doing this thing, and I get brought out to it. I show up, and again, I'm still very green. I don't really know what's going on.
You're a virgin.
Yeah. It's a photography studio. So there's no light dimming. It's all fluorescent lights. It's a super bright room. There's no stage. There's no microphone.
Oh, no microphone.
Yeah. But I'm like looking around the room. I was like, all right, there's like 40, 50 chairs, and here it's a small room. I look to the back. There's a chef making like super like high-end food. I'm like, all right. Look at another table. There's a Mexican grandma who looks like the cleaning lady from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Who is like manning a sex toy table. Like just a ton of sex. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And the woman comes up, she's like, all right, so you're going to open. Then we're going to have Action Jackson 2 times. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And he's like, he's a comic from Chicago. I'm like, wait, so his name's Action Jack? She's like, 2 times. I'm like, so do we say it 2 times? Like, no, his name is actually Action Jackson 2 times. So I'm like, okay, I'm really high right now, but this is just not registering. I'm like, and then there's going to be Sally Marvel, who is actually now a really popular like burlesque and like someone like sticks like pins through her face and swallows swords and stuff. She's going to perform. Then there's a woman who's going to dance with a snake. And then there was the headliner, who I don't remember who he was. And it's funny because he ate shit. He bombed horribly. He went on stage, he's like, I'm too good for this, and just completely ate shit. The crowd starts showing up. My wife gets there, and my girlfriend at the time, she's like, what's going on? What is this? I'm like, honestly, I have no idea. It might be fun. It might not. I don't fucking know. The crowd is a mixture of women, gay men, and black guys. That's it. And so the show starts. This gets just weirder and weirder. I go out and I do my set. It goes fairly well. Then Action Jackson goes up, does his
Action
set.
Jackson
2 times.
2 times.
He goes up. He does well, too. Then Sally goes up. Sally's
the pin needle.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is also smoking hot. So she takes her top off on stage. She has tassels that she sets on fire and then starts swallowing these swords. The black guys in the crowd start making it rain on her like she's in a strip club. Like, I'm still seeing that. My wife's looking at me. I'm like, I have no fucking clue.
Like,
I don't know
what's
happening.
This is how it works.
Then the belly dancer comes out. Again, she has tassels on and she's dancing with 2 giant snakes. Then we're going to auction off 3 sex toys. So they're going to auction off a gallon of lube, a 3-pack pocket pussy, and
a 3-pack. Nice.
Yeah, so it was like anal, mouth, and vaginal, and then a
trifecta.
Yeah,
or the Holy Trinity.
Yeah,
of
the holy
toys,
of fleshlights. Yeah. So and then a like a vibrator. So
Old
this
school.
like Dolph Lundgren looking gay dude wins the vibrator. Some old woman wins the gallon of lube. And my girlfriend, who was at the first show of mine ever, wins the 3-pack pocket pussy thing. And we went to a bar called Mitchell's in Pilsen afterwards. And she's like holding this thing. She's walking through the bar. She's like, what are we going to do with this? I was like, I mean, I can think of a couple of things we can do with it.
I can think of 3 things we could do with it.
Right. She's like, no. She's like, I'm just going to put it like by the bar. And she puts it down. And the busboy comes over and she just goes, you want this? And the guy looks at it, sticks it under his shirt, and runs out of the restaurant. Again, this is 9 months into comedy. That is still the craziest show I've ever been part of.
Do you remember the name of the show, the Pocket Pussy Action Jackson Experience? What the fuck was?
So I've actually talked with Amber and Mary on Facebook about this recently. Like the memory popped up.
Yeah.
And I was like, can anyone tell me what the fuck this show was for? And they're like, honestly.
It was a fundraiser, wasn't it?
Yeah. No clue what it was
for.
What
was the cause?
No idea. No clue to this day. And again, the food was like filet mignon sliders and like all these like really cool things. And then sex toys. I have no answer on what happened that night. I have pictures I can show you after this.
Yeah, I want to see the sex toys. I could put it up on the page. Oh, look, we're running. Speaking of sex toys, I have one in my car I need to clean out before it's disgusting. It smells. We're running out of time. Do last words, and we'll do plugs. Anything, last things you want to say, or any questions for me, or...
I mean, I've learned a lot about you tonight. I can't believe you've ripped your penis off 3 times.
I'm done. That's the old.
That's impressive.
Because it's stuff. I'm like, okay, and it's. I want to keep going, and it's. Now I know if you Vagisil and stop. No drano.
Good to know.
Okay, no Brokeback Mountain say. It's a fucking movies. In real life,
right?
You fucking you're asking your sister for Vagisil at your fucking baby shower. Oh, I'm cursing way too much. I don't like that. And plugs. Do you have any plugs? It's not gonna be out for weeks, so social medias and then shows or anything.
So many things. So I'm opening or featuring for Brian Catlin next week.
At the Improv. Yeah. That's gonna be awesome. I saw you feature for somebody at the Improv. I just can't remember.
I feature Vince there, and then I've opened for a few people, just doing like the hosting.
Yeah, I saw you host for somebody.
That place is awesome. I love performing there. This is my first.
Did you host for Ken? No. Ken Gar?
Ken Gar was the feature for Taylor Tomlinson. I hosted that show.
Okay. I can't remember, but I saw you.
Which is like, for me, crazy looking back now because Taylor Tomlinson is huge. She's about to do her 3rd Netflix special, and I opened for her before she'd done any of them. So that was really cool. And then, let's see. I'm featuring for Alex Moffat from SNL next month. So that'll be at the Comedy Vault November 17th, whatever that weekend is, that first teen weekend.
And social media.
At Brooks the Comic on Instagram, at Brooks the Comic on TikTok. Those are the two ones I'm trying to build. I just started uploading clips, so that's been kind of cool to see. Like, I had one that I put up yesterday that has like 1,700 views, which I realize like is nothing.
Yeah, the TikTok.
But for me, I'm like, hey, 1,700 people saw one of my jokes. That's really fucking cool. And
Chinese government. So I have a TikTok too. I just deleted it and I upload a video. So follow the Lobo Den Podcast on Instagram. Follow the Patreon. It's $3 a month for the lowest tier. There's episodes. There's one episode I had to take off Luca Farah does not want me to release this episode. He didn't say anything that bad. He did not say anything bad. And I told him, like, look, if you do it, I'll send you the money back you sent me. I'll release it, and it's not that bad.
What could he possibly
Nothing.
have said?
Exactly. Like my friend, it was on Patreon for a little bit. My friend
Right.
Santa saw it. She's like, not that bad. Like I maybe said some off-color jokes, barely, but it was me. And then so the campaign for Luca. One day I'd like to release the episode, but he's like, no. He's like, I can't. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But there's other stuff on there, early releases, more content. And again, Lincoln launch. I think is Bobcat here. I saw him yesterday. I gave him the thumbs up.
What you were saying?
Yeah, shakes a clown. It's but anyways, I think that's all on social media. And then I've never had sex with my cousin. Okay, Lobo Den.
Lobo Den.